I don't like who I am anymore.
I've always been a singer-songwriter starting out. And that was many, many years ago. And I've been lucky enough to make writing songs and producing records uh, my dream, passion, and job my whole life. And I wound up uh, doing that and having success with many artists along the way and just writing songs that have been heard the world over. And then got to a point during the pandemic where I was thinking what I want to do next for my career and decided I want to return to my roots as a singer songwriter. And I thought about, well, do I have anything to say? And would anyone want to hear what I have to say? So I started to let things kind of flow lyrically from me, onto the page without really committing to writing a song. And finally said, well, I do. And the first thing that came to mind was Dry January, because during the pandemic, I think the rate of drinking pretty much everywhere went through the roof. And so that was my first acquaintance with Dry January. Um, I have a wife and two daughters. I have a really lucky, blessed life. But this was an opportunity to look a little bit deeper below the surface and see if there's something I could contribute back through writing the song. I mean, there's certainly times when you see the alcohol flow, and it can be in any number of circumstances. Whether you're out playing live and it's before the show, after the show, during the show, and that can follow you into the studio. It can follow you back to the home. Um, it's there can be an abundance of drinking, no doubt about it. But that goes along with all the other forms of addiction as well. And I've asked myself along the way, why is that? And why do some great superstars get caught up in it and wind up paying the ultimate price? And I think some of it is because of what happens. Really great artists are dealing with heavy things and are very exposed and vulnerable and raw in terms of what they're writing about. And there's no way to shield yourself from that. It's just there and it's in you, and you want to communicate it because you want to be heard, but you just can't really take away the pain sometimes and discomfort that comes with discovering this and sharing it through song. It's an honesty gauge. It's a gauge where you're thinking, I'm writing these words and I'm saying, okay, Andy, what are you saying here? To, that's coming. How deep are you going into yourself, and how honest are you being with yourself, and hence the listener. And so there's no way to escape the truth of it. And when you're looking at the mirror, that tends to be the case. So there were those moments as I was writing it where I would kind of like reflect back onto myself, not with a real mirror, of course, but with a mind's eye and the question mark of, do you mean it? Is it real? And can you stand behind it? And will it improve your own life? Some friends of mine call the holiday season sopping December. Moves into damper, dry January. So it's very much like being out in the rain, and something you can't get away from when you're drinking too much or more than maybe is healthy for you. And so how does it feel to all of a sudden not have that to lean on and not have that as a crutch, which is in the subsequent line? And it's not to say in any way, well, there you're going to have to suffer through it or any kind of judgment. It's just like, how does it feel? It's can be tough. It's a sudden departure from your normal life and sometimes your habits. It took me a long time to get that line right. I had it all different kinds of ways. And just as a sidebar here to that, the reason is because the more I got into writing this song, I realized how complex it really was. There's so many topics going on. It's not a one-dimensional love song. It's just layers and layers of things that I wasn't expecting to be there, but of course, in retrospect, could obviously see there was. So Will a Hero Rise really became, I recognized, the anthem of the whole song, and the question of, in myself, am I going to rise to the occasion? I mean, and if I'm asking that of me, I'm asking it of you. but I didn't want it to be direct and obvious. I just wanted to be more like a musing. Am I going to do this? Am I going to be able to, maybe lift myself up a little bit beyond where I was? There's no easy, simple way to say it, uh, but if you can just get to a point where you're comfortable in what you have to say as an artist, you can live with it and through it, then it'll make the message, I think, better and clearer at the end of the day and make you a better artist. It's not easy, and no one's to blame or at fault here. It's just when these things bubble up, it's coming through a maze of things that have little to do with alcohol. It's about your upbringing, your things you've encountered along the way, whatever that may be, those dark places and secrets that a lot of people have. Very, very much, yeah. I'm writing everything 100% by myself, and I'm the artist, the producer, the publisher, the label. It's so rewarding doing it this way. I'm very happy for what I've done in the past, but this is a whole different turn, and I can see myself doing this for a while. I mean, a good long while. And I want to put out songs that I feel really have meaning, are songs that I would call, in record parlance, they're singles. They're real contenders. I don't want to put out fluff or album cuts. So I'm going to be careful about what I have out there. And if I only put out 4 singles a year, that's fine. But yes, I'm in this part of my career for the long haul. I really thought long and hard about doing this on TikTok. And, the demo for TikTok demographic is 18 to 34. It's a youngish person's game. But Dry January's biggest age conglomerate are millennials. And so that's 27 to 42. So there's a crossover there. So I thought about, how do I express myself in a way that's convincing and real and authentic, but contemporary. So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to look like somebody who just fell out of the sky and like, what the hell are you doing here? I want to look like I belong there. And I think it doesn't matter what your age with the message I'm putting out there. I think most people will see it and hear it and hopefully get it. And it won't be something that has to do with a fleeting trend in TikTok and whether or not it goes viral, but whether the message really has some substance and can travel through time. I really go to the bridge when I kind of sum it up with honest, just be honest, don't be honest half of the time. It happens to be something I think these days is one of the greatest problems we have in our world, is people have stopped being totally honest with themselves. The avenue is just ask yourself the questions that need to be asked here and do what's best for yourself. If you're at a place where you have to question it, and am I having a little too much to drink? And well, maybe then you are. So the avenue is through honesty. I hope that's not too vague. I'm not saying, stop doing this, stop doing that. Ask yourself the tough, meaningful questions that'll make your life ultimately bigger and better.